welcome to this edition of Talk Vietnam. Our guest today is world-acclaimed British conductor, Mr. Colin Metters. Now, he is the Director of Conducting Studies at the Royal Academy of Music in London, and he is the very first foreigner to receive the Vietnamese government's Order of Merit for his services to Vietnam's cultural development. Now, joining us on Talk Vietnam today, as we talk to this very internationally celebrated conductor about what it takes to give a masterful performance, as well as the nature of his role holding the baton and his connection to Vietnam.
Colin Metters worked as the Professor of Conducting and Director of Conducting Studies at the Royal Academy of Music, takes him all over the world. His wide experience over nearly 4 decades affords him an enviable reputation across a broad spectrum of the music profession. He has conducted many of the leading symphony orchestras in the UK and has worked extensively abroad, guest conducting in Europe and Asia, including Vietnam. In recognition of his contribution to the Vietnamese cultural development, the Vietnamese government honored him the Order of Merit, the first time such an award has been made to a British citizen.
Hello, Colin. Thank you very much for being here. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us. Now, tell us what brought you to Vietnam in the first place, and when was that?
That was 15 years ago, and I've been coming back here pretty regularly since then. That started with a project through British Council and work to do with orchestral development, the orchestral situation in Vietnam. They asked me to come to do a report on Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City, and following that they said, this is great, this is wonderful, and all the reports have come back so positively, you've gained their trust, so you've put in your report, we'd now like you to come and do it. So that's how it all started. And so that began my relationship essentially with VNSO, but also with Ho Chi Minh City, where I came first. And through British Council, that went on for maybe 5 or 6 years. I came twice a year. And then I continued to come to Hanoi. And I came back 2 years ago, back to Ho Chi Minh City, and here I am again 2 years later. So it's been going on for a long time, and Vietnam has become so much part of my life.
How do you feel each time you come back to Vietnam now?
Oh, it's wonderful. I used to say I would get withdrawal symptoms from not being able to go to the old quarter in Hanoi. And I was saying to some people the other day that, and I mean this in the best sense, there's nowhere that I've traveled all over the world, there is nowhere that smells like Vietnam. But I mean that in the
special
most
smell.
No, really, it is. And the extraordinary thing is that when I arrived on what is it, Friday, in the airport, I came off the plane in Ho Chi Minh City, in the airport, the doors opened on the plane, I walked into the corridor, yes, I'm here.
I smell
Vietnam. It's wonderful, just like sort of, well, it's like coming home in a way. It just always have felt that. It's a great excitement to me, because of the association I've had with the country, and with the music making and all the people. It's a great excitement, always.
Yes. Now this time, Colin has taken time to work with the Ho Chi Minh City Ballet Symphony Orchestra and Opera in providing a performance to Ho Chi Minh City audiences. So let's have a look at that.
A concert like this is rare even in the city like Ho Chi Minh City, and the appearance of the internationally recognized maestro Colin Metters is another reason for a fully booked City Opera House.
I've been here on a regular basis, so I already heard some different maestros and different occasions and different performances. I really enjoyed it, and I think all are doing very well.
During the one-night performance, Colin and artists perform masterpieces by Ludwig van Beethoven and Edward Elgar. But there's also space on the program for compositions by young Vietnamese composers VNtienganh and VNtienganh, all successfully performed under the baton of Colin Metters.
Tối nay tôi được nghe hai cái bài giao hưởng của hai nhạc sĩ trong nước soạn ra, và cái người nhạc trưởng chỉ huy là người nước ngoài, thì mình nghe nó âm hưởng nó kết hợp được giữa cái phương Tây và cái Á Đông. Ở trong hai cái bài đó thì mình vẫn nghe được cái âm hưởng của nhạc Việt Nam, nhưng mà nó được chỉ huy và được một cái người nhạc trưởng như vậy, thì mình thấy cái tư duy của cái âm nhạc phương Tây thì nó rất là tốt để giúp cho những người nhạc sĩ trẻ của Việt Nam soạn nhạc, và những cái người nhạc công có thể học được nhiều ở những cái người nhạc trưởng như vậy.
Ông là một cái người rất có nhiều kinh nghiệm trong cái việc điều khiển các cái dàn nhạc giao hưởng, và tôi tin rằng là các cái dàn nhạc giao hưởng của Việt Nam và đặc biệt là của thành phố Hồ Chí Minh sẽ học được rất nhiều điều qua cái quá trình làm việc với ông. Tiếc rằng là trong cái buổi biểu diễn hôm nay thì cái quy mô của dàn nhạc giao hưởng của chúng ta vẫn còn khá khiêm tốn, cho nên chắc có lẽ là cũng chưa có phát huy được đầy đủ cái khả năng của ông. Thì hy vọng rằng là những lần sau thì sẽ có cái dịp để mà biểu diễn với một cái dàn nhạc đầy đủ hơn, để chúng ta có thể thưởng thức được trọn vẹn cái tài năng của cái người nhạc trưởng người Anh này.
The smooth cooperation between the Vietnamese musicians and the English conductor has ensured the concert has been a major success. And the thunderous applause underlines the enthusiastic audience response.
Now, in this particular performance, what is it that you and HBSO has brought to the audiences here?
The program is a mixture of essentially classical repertoire in Beethoven Fidelio Overture, and English repertoire, which the orchestra specifically requested, which is Elgar Enigma Variations. And then we have two Vietnamese pieces, and one piece by a New Zealand composer who is the teacher of one of the Vietnamese composers. Oh. So it's it's quite a mix.
Yes.
You know, so it's a very interesting program, actually.
Mm-hmm. Of all of the concerts you've done here in Vietnam, you've conducted many concerts here. Do you remember a particular one that sticks to mind?
Well, I was asked that the other day. It's very difficult because there have been some really outstanding achievements, I would say, for the players here. I remember in Ho Chi Minh there was a wonderful performance of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and also a performance of the Seventh Symphony that we did here, which were fantastic. In Hanoi, I don't know, Rachmaninoff's Second Symphony, which is a huge work, and one that I programmed with some fear as to whether I was just pushing the boat too far, which they did fantastically well. There was a Tchaikovsky Sixth Symphony. Mm. So, I mean, there's so many that I don't think, I'll put it another way, answering your question, I don't remember any performance that I've done here with the orchestras in Vietnam that I've thought that I wasn't proud of.
Yes. What do you think of the Vietnamese audiences in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City?
That's a difficult question. I don't usually see them because they're always behind me.
True, but you know, when you do turn around, what do you think?
Yes, I mean they are very supportive and they enjoy it. They come, they pay for their tickets. I think that in the longer term, I think it would be great to be able to involve also a younger audience. They do have, sometimes I see in the tier in the balcony, you know,
Yes.
there'll be a whole row of, you know, young kids watching, you know, which is fantastic.
Now, one of the most, I guess, fascinating and also challenging part of the work of a conductor is working with so many people. I mean, do you remember the biggest orchestra that you've worked with?
Well, orchestra and chorus, I suppose, would be sort of fairly requiem, which would be a couple of hundred.
A couple of hundred?
Yeah.
Wow. How do you kind of, you know, work in order to coordinate everyone as a whole team? Or I guess that's just a very...
So you want a master class in conducting now?
Yes,
Okay.
almost, yeah.
Well, it works at so many different levels. I can't really give you an exact, precise answer to that. But yeah, you're trying to pull every individual's contribution into one center, into one whole, to make them aware of how that functions with everything else that's going on. That's to do with, there is obviously a psychological basis for that in terms of how you relate to all these people. And then, from the point of view of the conductor, also then a technical aspect, because what we do in conducting is a physical thing which has a technical base, which has a language that can speak and control and bring all that together. I don't know whether that answers your question at all.
No, that's perfect. Yes, but it's a lot of
things,
you know,
yeah.
aspects that, you know, bring the whole picture together.
Yeah, and you know, you can miss out on one of those and it's not going to work.
Falls apart.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's true.
Yes. Well, during this trip, you've been working with HBSO, which is the Ho Chi Minh City Ballet Symphony Orchestra and Opera. So let's take a look at one of the sessions where Colin has been working with the musicians.
Today, Colin Metters is rehearsing with the musicians of the Ho Chi Minh City Ballet Symphony Orchestra. Traveling back and forth between Vietnam and Britain over the past decades, Colin is familiar to many members of the orchestra. They appreciate every minute they spend with the talented English conductor.
Tôi cũng đã từng làm việc với chỉ huy Colin Metters, vậy là cũng hơn 10 năm rồi. Ông là một chỉ huy rất là giỏi trong cái vấn đề làm việc với dàn nhạc, vì ông cũng là một giáo viên, là một thầy giáo dạy về chỉ huy, cho nên ông cũng rất là biết cái cách nào đó chỉ cho cái dàn nhạc cái cách làm việc, cái cách cùng đánh chung với nhau. Cho nên chúng tôi cũng đây là một cơ hội để mà dàn nhạc giao hưởng nhạc của cái thành phố, cũng là một cơ hội học hỏi và để đánh chung với ông.
Colin only has a few days to work with the orchestra this time before the performance takes place. That's why the English conductor does all he can to make the instrumentalists practice as hard as possible, and most of the musicians understands what he needs from them.
You should have looked at it. First bassoon, first oboe. You should have looked at it. Yeah? You just play wrong notes everywhere. We don't have time. Look at the music. We don't have time for me to teach you the notes. I'm sorry.
Nghiêm khắc là chắc chắn rồi, rất nghiêm khắc, yêu cầu kỷ luật, và vừa cả kỷ luật về đi đứng này nọ, rồi đúng giờ đúng giấc, mà vừa kỷ luật về cả cái trong quá trình như một nghệ sĩ đánh đàn thì cũng phải có kỷ luật chứ.
Thân thiện nhưng mà làm việc rất là chuyên nghiệp, rất là nghiêm khắc, ở những cái chỗ nào cần thiết phải nghiêm khắc. Và nhạc trưởng vì đã làm việc quá lâu các nhạc Việt Nam nên là biết được những cái chỗ nào cần để mà tập cho dàn nhạc, cần chỉnh và nắn cho dàn nhạc, và thấy được sự nhiệt tình của nhạc trưởng và cái chất lượng trong cái buổi tập là thấy rõ.
Strict, demanding, and professional can be used to sum up Colin Metters as he strives to get the best out of the Vietnamese musicians he works with. And the efforts from his students make him believe they're ready for the real event.
Now, you often have a very short, limited amount of time to work with the musicians. For example, this week, it's only been 4 days. You know, what do you do in order to kind of get everyone into it? I mean, obviously, that's a challenge. What strategy do you use to get people into, say, the esprit de corps?
Esprit de corps. It's a combination of many different aspects, many different things. Works in broad terms. You can talk about motivation. Inspiration is a great word, slightly overused sometimes, but you have to try and the English word would be galvanize, if you like. It's to sort of motivate people to really want to do it.
Exactly.
And to want to change, and to change their own playing or their own thinking, so that that affects the whole of the orchestra. That again that's another, as it were, subject heading as to how you do that. But it does have to do with to a large extent on your own motivation, your own belief, your own intention. That's part of our responsibility as the conductor, is to bring something special, not in some world-changing way, but something which says it's different. All right, let's go with it. We'll play for this guy. How you do that? That's another little doctoral thesis in there somewhere.
But yes, basically, you know, as you said, inspiration. It is a overused word, but you know, you are the main source of inspiration for.
Or not.
For
depending.
Well, yes, depending on how good you are, to kind of lead everyone in and give them the motivation to really be inspired and play music to their best, the best of their ability. Do you ever come by a situation in your travels over the world where you feel that, you know, people are not taking to your leadership?
It would be untruthful to say that it doesn't sometimes happen. Not so often, I would have to say. But sometimes it happens, and there can be a lot of reasons why. Sometimes that is actually not to do with the conductor.
Exactly.
I worked with an orchestra many years ago, but I went to the orchestra and started rehearsing. I was trying to do everything that I thought I should do, and it was just nothing. There was no response, no willingness to work, just a sort of dead atmosphere. And I went back to my hotel every night thinking, what am I doing wrong? What's the problem? You know, what can I do? And it wasn't until about the third day that I discovered that the morning that I had arrived for my first rehearsal, the management had served what we call redundancy notices on about 20 musicians, because there were cuts.
Yes, that's
so
not
on the day I arrived, 20 musicians had basically been told, "You're fired." And I thought it was me.
Yes.
I can't use that excuse every time, but I mean, it's sort of...
work with many Vietnamese artists at the VNSO as well as HBSO. What do you think of the Vietnamese artists? I mean, you mentioned in the beginning it was a challenging relationship at the beginning, but you've gotten to know them over the years now. How are they now?
In one sense, they're the same as they always were, in a way. But the thing that I love about them, is that they actually really do want to work. They do want to make better music. It's not always immediately easy. But my belief and my feeling, and the reason that I've been coming back for so many years, is that is the point at which you can give them a new sense of realization of achievement. And you always, they have to be, there has to be a demand. If you don't make the demand, you don't get a return. Exactly. So the demand is not always straightforward, if you like. It's not just immediate. You know, can I have an ice cream? Yes, there's the ice cream.
You need to push it a little.
You have to push. You have to go on making that demand. When you do, the return is fantastic. The return is fantastic for them, because suddenly they're, yeah, we'd never thought we could do that. So the desire is there. Their passion is there. And the fact that they actually do, underneath that, they actually do want to make better music. They want to be better musicians. They want their orchestra to be a better orchestra. That's great.
Well, how have you seen the orchestra, the VNSO, as well as HBSO, improve over the years? I know, you said you still have to give them a little push every once in a while, but have they improved, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yes, without question, without question. And the stimulus has to be there. The leadership has to be there, and the motivation has to be there. To be honest with you, the players from Vietnam who have gone, say, to Paris to study, or to London, or to Germany, and then they come back to Vietnam, they bring something back and they say, no, but this is what you have to do. But it doesn't happen in Vietnam, because unless musicians come into Vietnam to bring it, they're not aware of it, so it's harder.
Well, you're a bridge.
Exactly, absolutely. I hope I'm a little bit of a bridge.
Yes, you're a bridge. And then how do you think, what do you think is the role of the conductor in kind of improving the performing skills of the musician?
Well, in that I would say it's not specifically to do with conducting. I would say that it is the responsibility of the conductor. But it's then in areas of coaching, of developing their skills of awareness, musical awareness, of listening, all of those things which are part of the responsibility of the conductor, but it's not to do with the conducting.
Saying that, every conductor should assume that 1/3 of his musicians in front of him do not like him. Is that right?
Well, I'd rather not think that personally, but no, I think that's a little harsh. But the truth is that it is a relationship. Whether it's short-term for a week, whether it's long-term for a 3-year contract or whatever, it's a relationship. Relationships work and they don't work. Sometimes it can be a while, even just in a week, before the orchestra actually comes. Sometimes I've had experience when it be really, really tough for 3 days, 4 days, 5th day, suddenly, wow, they suddenly go, yes, all right, now we understand. Now we understand, and we're all yours.
Yes. So it depends on,
Yes,
certain relationships,
Absolutely.
and some work right away and
Absolutely.
some don't.
It's a very human thing.
Yes. have staged many classical music pieces by Vietnamese composers, including Du Kích Sông Thao, Cô Sao by Đỗ Nhuận, Chim ưng by Đàm Linh, Mở Đất, and Rhapsody Vietnam by Đỗ Hùng Quân, as well as Người Về Đem Tới Ngày Vui by Trọng Bằng. What do you think of the different Vietnamese symphonies that you've helped conduct here in Vietnam?
Well, I have done a lot, and I feel that it's important to be part of that. So I'm not just coming to do a traditional, Central European program.
You mentioned earlier on that there is this certain lack of exposure here in Vietnam of the different standards and what's going on in Europe, say, or in America in terms of the symphony or orchestral music scene.
Yeah.
How would you, well, not exactly compare, but what does Vietnamese the symphony scene here has to do in order to kind of reach to that international standard of the music scene, say, in Europe?
I think it's to aspire, really. In a way, it's to want it. I think that it is different now from 15 years ago. There wasn't that much that came in terms of TV or concerts. Or, I mean, there was no internet. There were no DVDs or anything. I mean, you can get all of that stuff now. 15 years ago, didn't have anything.
Yes, exactly.
It's aspirational to say.
Do you have any memories that you'd like to share with us? Just memories that stick out throughout the years.
Oh my gosh. I think the language thing has always been quite amusing. I try to use Vietnam. I try to use numbers and letters and very simple things in Vietnamese, which I think I do reasonably well. But I don't speak Vietnamese. Because what I would say to you is it's a very dangerous language. Any tonal language is very, very dangerous. There have been occasions when I've tried to say something and I get the tone wrong. You see, I know that the word, I get the tone wrong, and of course the orchestra completely collapsed.
Into laughter.
Into laughter, yes, into laughter. And sometimes then, all the girls in the orchestra are all going, oh no. I say, what did I say? No, we can't tell you. We can't tell you what you said.
Me or in London in general?
The conducting course that I direct at the Academy, that's by quite a competitive audition process. So there has to be some background to people doing that. And I think the thing is that there have been a number of Vietnamese students at the Academy. What would be great would be to be able to initiate something that's got a stronger basis actually in Vietnam, in the conservatoires, either Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, where there are some fundamental things that are being taught, dealt with, but as far as the Academy is concerned, it is through an audition process. So I don't have, people have got to audition and get through the process, The opportunities are there for them to develop their skills, and it doesn't just go into some routine, so that it's always moving, it's always developing, it's always growing. And that's part of the cultural exchange. I mean, it's partly in a way why I'm so thrilled to be back and hopefully bring something again back to Vietnam and move people always to greater and better things.
Colin only has time to spend with his friends after the concert finishes. Leaving his stress and strictness behind, Colin returns to his daily personality, a friendly, warm and gentleman.
Ông ấy là con người rất là gần gũi và rất là chan hòa, rất vui vẻ, không quá khắt khe. Tất nhiên trong lúc làm việc ông cũng rất là nghiêm túc, nghiêm khắc trong cái công việc. Đó là vì đó là một cái đòi hỏi của một người là có trình độ, thì người ta thường xuyên đòi hỏi các nhạc công và dàn nhạc phải làm việc hết sức trong lúc làm việc nghiêm túc. Nhưng trong ngoài cái giờ làm việc ra thì ông ấy rất là vui vẻ và rất là dễ gần.
Colin doesn't know much about Vietnam. It's a fact, and it's quite easy to understand since every time he comes here, whether Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh City, he spends most of his time teaching or rehearsing with the Vietnamese artist. He and Long are two Vietnamese artists who have worked with Colin since he first came to Vietnam. Having time to travel and discover Vietnam is one of Colin's biggest wishes when he's here. But as time is limited, Colin must enjoy meeting his young friends, the ones who consider him members of their family.
Trong đời thường rất chi là thân thiện này và cũng rất chi là vui vẻ và vui nhộn và hóm hỉnh. Đời thường rất là như là một người cha, ông cũng là một người cha và có mấy cô con gái, cho nên khi mà nói chuyện với tụi mình cũng như là bạn bè gia đình vậy thôi, cho nên rất là thoải mái. Đủ thứ chuyện trên đời, thời tiết, món ăn, rồi những cái nơi đã từng đi thăm thú, rồi gia đình, con cái, đủ thứ chuyện trên đời như là những người bạn mà nói chuyện với nhau, có những chủ đề gì là đều có thể nói chuyện hết.
For Colin, music and friends are the connection between him and Vietnam, and those are the memories he takes home when he returns to Britain.
Now, as you said, your first trip here in Vietnam, everything was really different. I mean, it was 1997.
Yeah.
15 years have passed. How have you seen Vietnam change? Because you've been here a lot
Well,
throughout that time.
Yeah, it has changed enormously. As I say, there were no traffic lights. There were no roundabouts. It was complete traffic chaos. Now you have traffic lights and roundabouts, and it's still traffic chaos, but it's slightly less. Okay. When I went and just walked around in Ho Chi Minh City, and I thought there is still something that is still unique. It's still something about Vietnam that has not yet, please God, has not been lost. Something about there's a quality, there's an atmosphere, there is something about the place that is still there. And please God it stays. But many, many things are changing. You know, and I think you don't have really sight clothes now, do you?
No, I think only for tourists.
Yeah. So that way, I mean, there were hundreds of them when I first came, and then I think they said the sad thing is they said it's slowing up the traffic, so we got to get rid of them. I said no.
Change them with a lot of cars.
but seriously, there's something that still is something of the spirit of Vietnam, which is wonderful.
Do you have any memories that you'd like to share with us? You know, just memories that stick out throughout the years.
Oh my gosh. I think the language thing has always been quite amusing. I try to use Vietnam. I try to use numbers and letters and very simple things in Vietnamese, which I think I do reasonably well. But I don't speak Vietnamese because what I would say to you is it's a very dangerous language. Any tonal language is very, very dangerous. There have been occasions when I've tried to say something and I get the tone wrong. You see, I know that the word, I get the tone wrong, and of course the orchestra completely collapsed.
Into laughter.
Into laughter, yes, into laughter. And sometimes then, you know, all the girls in the orchestra are all going, oh no. I say, what did I say? No, we can't tell you. We can't tell you what you said. You can work it out for yourself.
Well, now for your work and your contribution that you've done here over the past 15 years, you've received, as we said in the beginning, the Vietnamese Order of Merit for your services to Vietnam's cultural development. How do you feel about this honor?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, I didn't actually believe it when I was told about it. And I didn't even know it existed. And suddenly this came through. Somebody said, oh, just wanted to know that you've actually been awarded this. And it was extraordinary. I didn't think in the previous 10 years, well, if I keep working, or, you know, if I keep coming back, maybe they'll give me a Order of Merit sort of thing. So it was just very, very special, very special. And it was awarded to me at the Opera House at the end of a concert. I think it was the Deputy Minister of Culture sort of came on stage and put the thing around my neck, and it was very, very special.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
I still have that in my study at the Academy. It's on the wall.
Proud moment in Vietnam.
Absolutely.
Now, if you were asked by someone, what is, you know, the best part of your whole experience in Vietnam in the past 15 years?
I think actually being here, having had the experience of what would add up to a lot of time being in Vietnam, experiencing Vietnam, and the people I have met, the people I have worked with, the musicians I have worked with, and everything that they and the country have given me in terms of my own experience. It's just the whole of my experience of Vietnam, which is has become so much part of my life, and all the memories that I have, which is why when I can get off the plane and walk into the airport, I breathe the air and I think, yes, I'm back in Vietnam.
Well, thank you very much, Colin, for joining us here on Talk Vietnam.
It's really my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, and for sharing your stories. We hope you all the best of luck and that you'll continue to come back to Vietnam.
I hope so too.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up our edition of Talk Vietnam this week with conductor Colin Metters. We hope you enjoyed our edition and that we'll see you more next time here on Talk Vietnam. Goodbye for now.